Opposites Attract podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How is your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. And make sure you guys go to our website, Opposites Attract Podcast. The best thing you guys could do is share this with somebody else. Find a clip on our clips channel on YouTube, Opposites Attract Podcast Clips, and share your favorite one with somebody and let them know that the podcast is out there. Comment, subscribe, like, all that stuff. You guys know what to do. You guys have watched enough videos to know what helps out the algorithms and all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Share.
And welcome,
Thank you.
Nisi.
And welcome Nisi back to the podcast. Our old girl.
I was
Our dog.
talking to my daughter's good friend, best friend. He was sharing with me that he lost his dog.
Yeah.
And he was sharing that it's difficult, that him and his family, they're going through it. And it was his first dog, kind of like our first dog, Frazier, when we left Frazier.
Yeah.
And it's always such a tough thing to go through when you lose a fur baby.
Yeah.
Because they are a part of the family.
Right. Yeah. I think, I don't know, this whole journey of life. But no, I'm talking about, like, for me recently, like in the last year, 2 years, there's been a lot, like, just unraveling and understanding. And one of the biggest things of understanding, enlightenment, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is understanding the sacredness of a moment and the time that you have, even when it comes to a pet, like in every way. Like I was mentioning, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, when you were telling me, when you were like, what are you doing? And I was like, enjoying the breeze. Like in that moment, that's what I was supposed to do.
Right.
And then yesterday you were in the bathroom and I was getting ready to take a shower. And then I saw Nisi on the floor. And then before I took a shower, I just kind of sat on the floor with her and pet her and, just gave her some love. And like just being aware that she's not going to be around forever, and enjoying the time that we have with her.
It's so simple.
What's that?
To be in the moment. It's something that's so simple, but so many people are unaware of what being in the moment means and how that can change their entire life.
Yeah.
How it can enhance every relationship by being with themselves and the person or thing, whatever. 'Cause it can be us sitting in the back.
It really is just whatever moment you're in.
Yes.
Whether you're driving down the highway, whether you're standing in a parking lot, it just, like,
and
for me, I had
up at the sky.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Like, I've had that moment. Like, I don't know if it was on a trip or something somewhere. Like, I'm getting ready to walk into my hotel room, and for a minute there, I'm like standing in the parking lot, and I'm like, just take 20 seconds to just fucking stare into space and look around.
Yeah. I haven't been going to church.
It's been a bit.
Yes. I do miss being in that moment, in that specific moment with Audrey, right? Because that was our thing that we did together, and we both enjoy singing. So worshiping was our favorite thing to do, like together, you know?
Yeah.
And we still have those moments. But there was something about that, right? Just that moment. And then lately I've been seeing you spending and hearing about you being in the moment with Joey, right? And his friends. How do you feel that by being in the moment and being aware, being with him, how has that enhanced your relationship with him?
I think the bond, like it's hard to explain. But I think we all have certain moments in our life that it's like flashes of moments throughout life. Kind of like Inside Out. Where you have these little memory balls, right?
Yeah.
And there's these little flashes that just like, that was a moment. Mm-hmm. And knowing that we're making these moments. Mm-hmm. And the more that I can be present and be aware and spend time with him. And spending time is something that it's not just being there.
Right.
Because you could be there and be doing something else.
Or somewhere else in your head.
Yeah, exactly. It's being there and being with them, and
it's being present.
Like listening. And what is it that you're into? Wow. What is that? How does that work? Like, be into what they're into, genuinely. Like, it's your kid, right? Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, I've never been into Rubik's Cubes, but I am now. I'll get into it. I can solve a 2x2 now,
Yeah.
I can get into it. I can get into geology. I can get into whatever, like if that's what my son wants. And I think that those moments later on in life, he's going to have a bunch that he can look back and be like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And I think that's fulfilling for a person. Mm-hmm.
And even like for me as the witness, right? Yeah. The person on the outside looking in, when I asked him, hey, I heard you were playing a video game with Dad. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, how was it? And he loved it. He enjoyed it.
I got to go play some games after this.
Right. And
with the boys.
The laughter, the memories. And that in itself will forever be engraved into his heart and his memory bank. And then Audrey, you took her driving.
Yeah.
And she looks such like, she looked like she's a
little lady.
Oh my gosh, she is.
She's a little lady.
And she's such an amazing young lady. She really is. And I am so proud of us. I am so proud of us because they reflect us. And watching that video and watching you and her together, I mean, that's priceless.
Yeah.
She was enjoying it as much as you were enjoying it. You guys were laughing together.
We got to do that too. Maybe
it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I had yet taken her driving. And then one day she's like, hey, Mom, right? You were at work. And she asked me if I would take her. And I'm like, shit. No.
Yeah.
But I saw the video, so she looked like she knew what she was doing. So I had told her yes. And it's so funny. We went on, driving together. And I said, girl, you better use your turn signal. What are you doing? She's like, Mom, I haven't used the turn signal. I'm like, what? I'm like, what have you been doing? Just driving in circles? And she's like, yes. I'm like, okay, girlfriend, it's time to start using your turning signals.
This girl, she's 9 months away from getting her permit. Dad's telling her that red lights are optional. You could use your turn signals or not. These things were made up by men, and nobody tells Dad what to do. Dad does whatever the hell he wants.
Oh my goodness.
She's like, my dad says, skrr. It's like, holy shit.
And so she was only like going in a circle,
Yeah.
like left hand. And I'm like, okay. So I got her using her turn signal on the left. And I noticed she was very comfortable. Like that's probably what how she's what is it?
Yeah, the pattern that she's been driving.
Exactly.
She's just been doing a loop like NASCAR.
So I had her using her turn signals, and I told her, okay, now you're going to make a right. And there were vehicles.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And there were vehicles. And she's like, Mom, when Dad brings me, there's hardly any people here. And I'm like, okay, well, it's time to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right. And I actually felt pretty comfortable with her. So, which was good because at first I was nervous taking her.
Yeah.
And then so I had her making a right hand turn and using her turn signals. And I knew this shit was going to happen. I saw it coming.
Anybody that lives out here by us, stay out of the Kohl's parking lot because that's where we go.
Well, okay, you know how you make a right hand, right? She's not making a left to go near Kohl's. She's making a right hand turn.
Right.
And there's like a long island, like that long island.
Right.
And I knew she was going to go. I just had a feeling that she was going to make the turn too soon and end up going over I knew it. I had a feeling, and sure shit. And I'm like, Adriana, stop. And she did not hear me say, like, she was so nervous. Like she did not hear me stop or say stop. Right.
Yeah.
And then finally I'm like, Audrey, I'm like, stop. Right. And so I'm like, it's okay. I've done it.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
did she bump into the curb or
she went over?
She hit the curb.
She was on it. No, she was
on the curb.
Yeah. I'm like, we are not in your dad's truck. No.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's okay. Here, I want it. I'm like, let me get out of it because I had to reverse it. And then I'm like, okay, it's okay. Come on, let's go. Like I didn't make a
she
big
didn't
deal
tell me
out
that.
of it.
I'm going to tell her.
She did, but I don't think she explained it properly.
Okay.
So I told her no. I'm like, it's okay. Come on. Like I didn't make a big deal out of it. Right. To scare her or right. I did yell at her to stop, but yeah, I didn't do that. So I'm like, let's go.
Didn't you see the curb?
Mm-hmm. I just had her, okay, let's go. Right hand turn. Come on, let's go. And then cars were coming. I'm like, it's okay. Stay on your side. Don't be in the middle of the lane. Stay on your side. So, but that was being in the moment, being there with her, you know? And so getting to experience that because you taught both kids how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You actually taught them how to ice skate because my ass don't ice skate.
Well, I kind of taught them how to ice skate the way that guy was teaching the kids how to swim. You just throw them in the water. He's like, put some skates on them and throw them out there. They'll figure it out. Looking like deer, eating shit.
So it was cool to, do that with her and share that experience with her. And I mean, being cool in the moment again will enhance every relationship. And I didn't realize how much I was not doing it in the past until I started becoming more aware.
Yeah. So I was mentioning that last podcast. But before we get into that, I wanted to ask you, like when you're driving with Audrey, do you like before you start driving or like when you're driving, do you think about like kind of like in that moment, like what if she accidentally gets freaked or she steps on the gas or something? Like, do you think about like what you're going to do if something happens?
No.
You don't?
Mm-mm. Only you.
Okay. No. All right. So maybe you should think about like maybe putting the car in neutral or something. You know, like if she's stepping on it, like my first thought was like, I was like, I can grab the steering wheel and at the minimum I can put the car in neutral so that if she's stepping on the gas, it's not going to go any further, you know? Yeah. But.
Well, obviously I wasn't thinking about that. She went up a curb.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I was paying attention to her because if she accidentally pressed the gas instead of the brakes, at one point we would be inside Kohl's. So, I mean, I was aware, but not like that. Not like that.
You know, and one thing that I was also in the video that you saw when I was driving with her, like I was thinking about the situations, like if something was to happen, if a car is coming towards us, like I know she's going to start getting nervous. Mm-hmm. If she's getting a little bit close or And a lot of times, kind of like what you were sharing, is like she's getting ready to hit the island. It's like, how would you do that?
And
you know, and it's
scare
like,
her
and then scare her, and then she fucking slams it, and now we're going flying. We're going for a ride. You know, so it was like deliberately and consciously knowing that if something comes up, I have to like calmly, like you can hear in the video when I'm talking to her, I'm like, okay, and now we're gonna do this. And then you're going to do that, you know, because I don't want, like, especially driving's already something that, I mean, look at road rage. That's what it is. People are wound up, you know, so driving is a thing that is like intense. And for her learning right now, like not knowing anything, she's freaking wound tight.
Yeah. No, my mom made me freaking hella nervous when I was learning
Hella
how to
nervous?
drive. Hella nervous. Yes. Because she was just like that. Very dramatic.
Jumpy.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's like the worst for when you're going to drive.
She was very dramatic. So I did not like
Oh man.
like being with her when she was
Yeah.
But it's funny because she had told me, Mom, if I end up hitting a car, you have to hurry up and jump in the driver's seat. That's what she told me. And here's and my glasses. I'll make sure I give you my glasses because she was wearing her glasses. I'm like, really, Audrey?
That's funny.
You know, but
so
she's excited. She's ready.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about ready, but
no,
she's
what
excited.
I mean is, no, like she's like, I'm doing this.
She's
like,
ready to learn. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be awesome. Like this is what being a parent is about. This is like the fun stuff, you know. I mean, it's all fun. It's all fun, but this is, these are good times where you get to teach your kids. I guess. I mean, that doesn't stop, right? When does it stop?
Do you have a preference of
ass?
No,
I'm just kidding. What?
Really, babe?
Sorry.
I'm like, now? Like now? We would get tons of views.
Sorry.
You gotta warn me for this. Next time I'll wear a skirt.
I didn't mean to derail. What were you saying?
And I'll go there real quick.
What were you saying about ass and titties?
Dang it.
What do I prefer?
Oh yeah. So when they were babies.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like interacting with them when they were little or now that they're older?
Oh man, that's a tough one. It maybe not little babies. I mean, it's still awesome. Like the smell of a new baby, you know?
The smell of their shit.
It doesn't smell at that point. But when they're really little, but they can't do much. They're just like laying there and you're feeding them. And I mean, you love them.
Yeah.
But as they get older and they start smiling and doing things, like that's pretty awesome. But it's all special in a different way, you know?
Yeah.
I think depending. I mean, also for some parents, if you're depending on how things have been going, maybe that's a good time. And when they get older, it's a fucking shit show.
For me, it was when they started getting older.
That's the part you enjoyed the most? I
enjoyed when they were little, like it was cool. But I think, once they started becoming like little people, like being able to interact with them and have conversations with them and connect with them. And maybe it's because I was more aware. You know?
Yeah.
Like I started to see things differently. I started to grow.
Right. Yeah.
Because I remember back then, like we were struggling, right? Like life was challenging.
Yeah.
And I don't think like I got to enjoy them as much because I was stressed and I was going through things.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to just fully like be there. Yeah. I mean, I was like when you watch the videos, like I was, but I do remember
there's just a lot
of
other things happening
within.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, maybe, I think it's different maybe for men or for dads with boys and girls because at least with me and Audrey, our relationship has kind of changed over the years where before she was way more affectionate, right? Now I get punched all the time.
She loves you.
Now I get punched all the time. She's trying to jump on my back and choke me and stuff, which I also love.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the thing is that you can miss the affection or whatever, or you can understand that that is what that is.
Right.
You know, it's just different now, but it's the same thing. It's a hug. It's a kiss, except with knuckles.
Oh, I can see. Okay. Yeah.
You know, but back when she was more little, I'd snuggle up with her.
Yeah.
You know, where with a boy, that hasn't changed.
Right.
And now it seems like I can do more things and still do that. At least with him. That might not be the same with every boy.
Yeah.
He may be his way.
Yeah. This morning, so he has a friend that's over.
Before we move into that, you were talking about being in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And last week, I don't think we got into it because like we do, we get into other stuff. But I think it was either last week or the week before. I had mentioned something about being in the moment and that Satori feeling, right? And how the first stage of that is when it just happens by accident, right? Like you just happen to be, like you're living your life, you're stressed out with bills, baby daddy drama, baby mama drama, all this other stuff. Your job is shit. People are calling you for money, fucking all this stuff's happening. And then your buddy hits you up and is like, hey, you want to go for a hike?
Mm-hmm.
Cool, let's go for a hike.
Yeah.
And then you're hiking and it's an incredible day. The breeze hits or you see a chipmunk like running around and you just stop for a moment and you're like, wow. And in that moment you stop and you look around and you're just like I've been missing this. Like you kind of just, it's mind blowing for a second. That is when it happens by accident. And that's like the first. That's how it happens for everybody, right? At first is like, it just kind of happens, but then it can happen again. And eventually, if you notice it, you start to realize that you don't have to just let this happen by accident, that you can consciously have these moments.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the next thing that you want to try to develop.
That's what meditation helps you dial into.
Yeah.
Within. And I don't know, like I should talk to my friend Henry.
What's up, Henry?
From Vietnam.
Harry.
Who did I say?
Henry.
Oh.
Who's Henry?
Harry.
Henry, we'll talk to you guys next. Not you, Henry. Harry.
And he's done hours of meditating. Like he's certified. Yeah. And I wonder, because I feel like this to be true, where I can get into a meditated state without meditating. Like get into that space without going within. You know, like I can just zone in and feel like it's almost like feeling high.
Oh. Uh-oh. Somebody's making an appearance on the podcast.
You little brat.
Come here, dude.
Hi, honey. Sonny says hi. He'll be jumping on my lap. He looks like he wants to be on someone's lap.
Anyway.
This cat knows how to open.
Oh, here comes Audrey. Come get him. And lock him up.
What are you doing? He's under so hot.
Say hi to everybody. Hi. There's Audrey. You guys got to watch it on YouTube and Facebook.
But yeah, like I can zone into that space without going into a meditated state.
Is it the same? Do you think it's the same as like when people talk about like when you're doing extreme physical like feats?
Like when you work out to exertion?
It's hard to explain.
Because I know when I ran that 4 mile with you, I didn't feel like
no, you got to get to like 20 something or 100.
What? Not die.
It's it's hard to explain. It's like that. I mean, it is like the no mind. It's like that flow. When you get into that flow, it's almost like the same. It's like you're not thinking anything, right?
Yeah.
I think when you hit these, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. I don't know. But
you and I are going to meditate together.
Okay.
It's time.
All right, we can try it.
It's time.
Yeah.
But where were we going with all of this?
I don't know if you were, but you were gonna mention something about the boys.
Oh yes. Over. So, well, that's crazy. But
what's crazy?
Joey, has a friend over, and it feels. I'm so happy to have him here.
His friend?
Yes. Because they were friends for a very, very long time, and then there was a disconnect, and now they're reconnecting. But this morning, I went up there, and I just gave Joey, like, a hug, like a real hug. I went to get him because I think breakfast was done.
Yeah.
And I was just giving him all kinds of kisses. And his friend is, how old is he?
14. Like 13, 14, yeah.
Because he's a little older.
Yeah.
And Joey was fine, right? Like with me hugging him and giving him kisses, and he was giving me kisses, and
like he wasn't shy about it.
No. And I'm so grateful that he is still that.
Yeah. I remember that as a kid. You know what? As a kid, I remember with my dad that I would always, no matter what, like I would always give him a kiss on the cheek. And I started noticing that as I got older, that wasn't a normal thing to give you, like fucking being 7, 16, 15, you're a fucking big kid. You're like, here you, bye dad.
But do you feel that was something that you were taught from your mom's side of the family? Because they are very affectionate.
I think it probably had some, but my dad's side, like I grew up with my dad. That's what we did. With my dad, with my grandmother, with my cousins, with everybody. Like it's a very Hispanic, Latin, Spanish thing to do. But the thing is that still, as you get older, you don't do it as much when you're, especially dude to dude, I mean, it wouldn't be dude to dude. We're dad and son, but I mean, it still is dude to dude eventually. Sounds weird, but but I remember being like a teenager and thinking like, I don't give a shit. Like I'll always give my dad a kiss.
Yeah.
Always. I don't give a fuck if I'm 40, 50. I'll give my dad a kiss on the cheek.
I don't remember.
But some people are like weird about shit. Like,
yeah, I don't remember our family being very affectionate like that.
But then in Spanish, like it's a very European Spanish.
Yeah, because I said, I don't remember growing up in an affectionate home like that.
Did you guys have the typical Spanish thing? I don't think so.
What?
In my family, like you would go to a house party. Oh my God, you show up and you got to make a lap around the whole fucking place.
Yeah.
Hi, tia. Hi, tia. Hi. And then when we leave, okay, bye. It's like, oh my God. I think that's a very Spanish thing to do too.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's funny.
But anyways, yeah, raising children it's a huge lesson in itself. I was just sharing this with someone, like our children, and I've mentioned it on here, are our biggest mirrors They're our biggest reflection. And so is your partner. You know, you and I were in a pretty deep conversation this morning before the podcast. We shouldn't have running our mouth.
I know you were thinking the same thing I was thinking. I was like, fuck, we should just go downstairs and turn the mics on.
But you and I were, you know, talking about different beliefs and why people make stuff up and this and this and that. And I was talking to you about an experience that happened to me last night with someone that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to you how that exchange of energy, because I don't know what other word to call it or how to explain it. I was trying to explain it to you, and then I referred to it as, which is to get you to understand or to relate, is like when you and I are intimate. Not like that, but yeah.
Oh, you meant. Oh wait, no.
Yes.
That's what you meant.
Oh my gosh. Babe, I'm trying to get in the moment here, man.
I was trying to help you.
Oh my goodness. But because, and we've mentioned this before, like when we're intimate, there's times where it's just heated, right? And we are connected, but it's a bit heated, right?
Right.
And then there's other times where we're always in the moment, but there's times where it's almost like a spiritual connection.
Oh, okay.
Where our breath, everything is just like we become one. And you're so into the moment and all senses are on.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And there is an exchange of energy. How else would you explain that?
Oh, there's an exchange of energy.
But I feel like we become one. Like I can feel you deeply. And it's as if we can read each other, feel each other.
Yeah.
Our breath, just everything. And it's when a lot of time, and they say the breath is, right? Like breathing is life. Like breath work, like when you get into that space and you're breathing in and you're breathing out and it's very rhythmic.
Yeah.
That something happens, and then this is where you can come in it and explain this, right?
Well, I can't because I'm not an expert in it, but I don't just make things up for whatever may be happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm not going to say that I know what it is because I don't study breath. I don't.
But what's changed? What has changed?
What do you mean?
Because we've been together for 16 years.
We
have been very intimate.
Well, yes. I think I know you like it's more.
Oh, my ears.
But what it is, all it is what we've been talking about. I'm more aware. I'm in the moment. You know, like and it is different. Everything is different. Everything is different, including sex. When you're in the moment, when you're aware, when you're present, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because if we could also have sex, and I could be thinking about paying bills, and the next audit that I need to set up, and my employee review, and the shopping, and have to go to Costco. Got to get new tires. Oh. Right? That's not the same fucking moment. But if I'm like, look at my wife, you know, that's a different moment. Anyway, I'm just saying.
This podcast is going to be a little short.
Anyway, but speaking of adding
So-
what?
So you're saying that just becoming more aware and more present and being in the moment can change your sex life with your partner?
Oh yeah.
Is that what you were saying to our listeners?
Of course. I think so. Yeah, no, it has made an
So what tips can you give them on how to become more aware and in the moment with your significant other?
You see, it's not going to happen just like, okay, I need to be in the moment when I'm in the bedroom. Start being in the moment when you step outside. Start being in the moment when your kid asks you a question. When you hear their voice.
And be in the moment consist of what? What does that consist of? Connecting to what?
Turning, looking, focusing, paying attention, listening, and blocking everything else out.
Tapping into your senses.
Your wife is talking to you right now. Your kid is talking to you right now. Your dog just came up to you right now. Be in that moment. Pet the dog. Look at their eyes. Rub their belly. Then think about your bills. Then think about going to Costco and all that other. That shit's still going to be there when you get back with this moment. When you're done with this little moment, that will still be there.
What do you...
And when you start doing it with these little things, you're like, there's about to be a moment and I'm going to be in it. You know, like, yeah.
I feel that a lot of people don't understand the power behind allowing yourself to be in the moment and to allow yourself to feel what's happening in that moment.
Yeah.
That there is
the focus,
the magic. That's the magic.
Focus all your attention.
No, think about it.
Yeah.
This morning not when we were doing it, but
oh, okay. All right.
Niecy,
yeah.
When you picked her up and you put her on the bed and we were both with her, you were looking at her. You started petting her. You started touching her.
Yeah.
Then you allowed your heart to open. And I don't know what you were thinking. I was thinking, man, she was our first child. Like she was here before Audrey. And it's like she's been through everything with us.
Yeah.
And she's been such a great dog. And so good.
Yeah.
And I allowed my heart, I allowed the emotions to flood, to come in.
Yeah.
The magic is connecting with all 5 senses. The feeling is, I feel like, really important. That's what will change the game. And I can tell you, like with us, I had to get rid of some things. I had to release and let go and heal from some things that I had going on with me in order for me to fully give me to you.
Yeah.
And once I was able to release those things, it was easy to trust you and to be with you in that moment. And once all that was released, it was easy for me.
Yeah.
To allow, like, it was just the unconditional love and thinking about all the things that we've gone through and been through and where we are today, like we made it.
Yeah.
Right? And while we're intimate, a lot of those feelings, it's like, it's the gratitude, being grateful, and allowing myself to appreciate this amazing man.
And that, like you're saying, you're creating the moment.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And as I'm feeling that,
So so you were just talking about something that is hard to explain.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling that is hard to explain.
Right.
That is almost like a spiritual feeling, right?
Yes.
But right now you're explaining to me that you're creating this feeling.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And as that is being created, for me,
it's not external. You're creating it.
Yes. Yes. And as I'm in this moment with every part of my being, because I am as God is, we are one, all connected. And you and I, at that moment, are very connected.
Literally.
And I know that what I'm feeling, I know you're feeling it. Because I can tell. But how do I know that? But I know I'm
there is something. There is something like that you can tell. It's one of those, if you know, right? I mean, when you come across somebody else, if I meet somebody that, I mean, there's a couple people like our friend that came over to fix the pergola, right?
Oh, yes.
You start, I don't know him very well.
Mm-hmm.
I've only met him once.
Yeah.
But then as soon as we start talking, it's like,
you're different.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, there's something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
what is that?
But that's it's a mutual connection. I don't know. It's an understanding. It's like if you know, you know.
Bring that up earlier when we were having this conversation when I was struggling to try to explain to you what the heck was happening.
But anyway,
but that's it.
Yeah. There's something that I want to get to, but dang, we've been flying through this podcast. Before we do anything else, make sure you guys go to our website, oppositesattractpodcast.com. Also check out my other show, Fighting for Your Life podcast. I had my our friend Andrew on the podcast. Make sure you guys, and he's a listener of this show. Shout out to Andrew. He's our training partner. Absolutely incredible. Dude blows everybody's mind. He's blind. He rollerblades to class, does jujitsu, does kickboxing. Dude goes to skate parks. His story is just insane. So
he's blind and he does things.
Yeah, that's what he likes to say. He's blind, but he does incredible things. Yeah. So yeah, make sure you check out that episode. But also, like I said before, the best thing that you guys could do to help out this show is share this with somebody else. Go to our clips channel, find a clip that you like, let them know that this podcast exists. Tell them to like and subscribe,
it, share it,
all of that. Like it on, review it on iTunes, all of that stuff. If you leave us comments, we'll comment back. Also, if you guys want to give us a call, send us a question, leave us a comment, you can call us at 480-331-9846. And I don't know if this is coming out before or after Father's Day, but you guys are always shopping on Amazon. And if you're doing any of that, go to our website, go to our link. And when you click on the support the show tab, that'll take you to our Amazon link. And if you shop through there, you'll help us out.
Yes. So thank you. And if you would like to help out in another manner, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod and buy us a virtual drink. And you can subscribe to that on a monthly basis as well.
Cool. There's something that I want to show you. I've been saving it for a while, and you know how hard it is for me to freaking save stuff and not show it to you before.
Yes, I've been hearing about this. I don't like that.
No, it's not. It's fun. It's gonna be fun.
I want to see.
It's gonna be fun, and I'm gonna share it with you guys too.
You better not make me cry.
And then after that, I want to show you. No, I want to talk about like earlier when we were having our conversation upstairs. I was talking about like how everybody has a spin on stuff, right? And you shared an example that I want you to share with everybody else, so maybe we can talk about it a little bit. But before we do that, when I was a kid, there was a rapper named Big L. And one of his biggest songs was this song called Ebonics. And the song broke down all the slang in the 90s, and somebody did a remix to the song, and I want to share it with you and get your reaction to it.
Okay.
So this is the Gen Z version of the song Ebonics.
All right, let's try to break down this Gen Z slang for us millennials and boomers. Yo, the clothes you have on is your drip. A turn off is an ick. If it's something hot or poppin' is lit. To condescend by calling something kinda average is mid. Having smooth game or short but charismatic is Riz. Saying cap means a lie. Scary means scared when it used to mean shook, but now shook means surprised. Your enemy is your op. A song you like is a bop. A shorter version of goddamn is got. When it hits different, the impact of a feeling deep and sneaky link is someone you would cheat with. Periods to emphasize shit that you agree with. If someone ate, it means their performance has exceeded, which means the same thing if you understood the assignment. Pull up is an invite or the act of arriving. If you pass the vibe check, it's the cue that you cool. Let them cook means to give them space to do what they do. If it's bass, then it's bold. If it's gas, then it's dope. If you sus, you suspicious by the actions you show. If you standing on business, then it means you don't play. It means you say what you mean and you mean what you say. A glow up is a physical change, but in the positive. Unlike low key, high keys meaning is obvious.
Bad,
it means obvious with no need to take hints, and it's considered disapproval of something ain't it. The Dubs are winning, L is still taking the loss. Secure the baggage to make sure your payment is locked. If the song sounds good, then it slaps. If you seen as attractive, looking good, you a snack. I'm dead or I'm weak. It's really kinda just a reaction to something crazy or something that was funny that happened. Yeah, that's coming out of their grill. That's just the way that they talk, though.
Vocabulary spills, I'm ill.
That's funny.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Dude, that dude is sick.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He broke it down for everybody.
Yes. We were having dinner with the kids, and I can't remember what the heck it came up, and I was like, what was that for us, babe? Do you remember what we were talking about? It was something player. Was it player where we were listening to a song and the kids had said Riz, or they were saying something.
Yes, yeah, it was Riz. Like what it got game. Like
yes.
he's got game.
Yes.
Like
and I'm like, that's what it is. You got game. That was us. Yeah, that was our
Or
verbiage.
we used to say kicking game. I was kicking game.
Yeah.
That's rizzing her up.
Yeah.
He's rizzing her up. Or macking, right?
That's so funny.
If you're macking, that's kind of
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's nuts.
it's funny. Like, damn, getting older, it's one of these things. It's fucking weird. Like
Right.
it just happens.
Yeah.
It just happens.
And you're like, what the hell are these kids talking about? And then we forget that we had our own verbiage.
right?
Right? Yeah.
Oh my God. They're like, talk about having your own verbiage. Growing up in New York, good luck understanding what the hell we were trying to say. Like, there was so many words. Like, I mean, that the original song from Big L was explaining all of that. And I mean, cold was brick. Like, if you're cold in New York, like outside is mad brick. It's mad brick, son. Like, it's freezing. You know? Like, that's what?
Mad brick.
If somebody is strong, they're brolic.
What? Brawling.
That you can also hear that in a Nas song. Yeah, like it's just funny. Like just where does this stuff come from? And then as a kid, you know, you're running around saying these things, and the adults are looking at you like, "What the? What are they?"
What are you
and
saying?
then now you start getting older. It's like back in my day. He's like, "Oh, he's risen her up." He's like, "What?"
I know. I heard the kids saying this. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? What are you saying?
No cap. I'm like, what? And then like I'll say it every once in a while, but I'll say it like super, like not
cheesy.
Not the way you're supposed to.
Yeah.
No cap.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah.
Anyways, what did you want to share with me? What? You're talking stuff.
Oh, so yeah, the other thing that we were talking about earlier was the like how people will all put their spin on stuff, you know, and you were explaining your experience with a medicine, a form of tobacco. I think it's a form of tobacco, right? That's called hape,
Right.
or rape, or whatever they call
Yeah.
it. And it's kind of like a powdered thing, right? And you have like a little tube, and you blow it up your nose, and it has a
It's
certain
tobacco,
effect.
pure tobacco.
Right. So, and we were talking about how you can be kind of like we were just talking, put into a state depending on different things that are happening. And then it really is hard to figure out like what is what. Like what effects am I having, and what are these effects coming from? Like, is it this or is it that? You know, and you shared that you've had this experience at different times and in different forms, and how they were different, right? Like you had the hape experience at a retreat, and how that was versus just doing it in the bathroom by yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So can you share what that was like?
No.
Why?
I understand
Well, are you
Like,
about to put an
how it-
asterisk on this whole thing?
how it works.
Like, before I tell you what happened, this is what I feel. Is that what you're about to do? Just tell us what happened.
Okay. So what got me wanting to, well, because I want to serve this medicine myself. So I've been serving it, self-serving, to learn about it, to understand it, so that I can serve it at my retreats. And the first time I experienced it, I was at a retreat, and, you know, there's music playing, and we've been releasing and letting go of self-doubt, fear, whatever, right? And the first time I took it, or one of the times I took it, they asked me, what is my intention? And I think at that time I was feeling doubt. So I was releasing doubt and bringing in clarity. So there's music playing. There's incense, right? Again, all 5 senses ignited, right?
Yeah.
I think we had did some breath work beforehand. So we had already meditated. So I was already in a very conscious state of mind, which is key. And so you start with the left nostril, blew it up, releasing doubt. And then they did the right, and it was clarity. And I had such a profound experience. And it was very beautiful.
But not only that, but you were saying that when they were doing it, there was also somebody else that was kind of like, I don't know if they were massaging you
Yeah.
or they were,
Yeah.
what else was happening?
Because I was having these emotions come up.
Okay.
So, you know, I was crying, and it tends to get you a little warm. Well, for me. So, you know, us women are very nurturing. And so I had someone behind me just kind of like, you know, rubbing my shoulders, my arms, and yeah, it was a very profound, you know, experience. And then I did it before, and I had another experience as well, just an emotional release. And then you and I were watching a video, and I saw these guys just went to the Amazon,
Yeah.
went and got some stuff done.
We got to watch that again.
And there's a certain amount, right? Like, you have to know, like, the person, you can blow a shitload of up someone's nose, and it causes, like, it's intense,
Right.
like a burning sensation, not like you're on fire, but it's just
Yeah.
uncomfortable, right? So you have to know how much to serve.
Which seems like what they did to those guys in that video.
Right. But the guys in the video didn't have any kind of spiritual nothing. There was no intention. There was nothing. It's like, I'm going to blow this shit up your nose.
They didn't explain nothing. They were
Nothing.
like in a hut, dirt floor.
Right.
And they were like,
Right. And so it's supposed to help opening the third eye.
okay.
So clarity. Right.
Okay.
And so anyways, and then you and I were talking, and when I decided to serve it, I'm like, okay, well, I'm serving it to myself.
So you bought some.
Yes.
And bought your own.
Yeah. And I didn't do any, I just kind of like the dude, right? Put some in my hand, no intention, just, I'm going to do this to see.
Let's just.
Right. And I don't think I did enough the first time, but either way, I was like, cool. Like, there was, I didn't, you know, it was just, I felt a surge of energy, which also brings clarity, right? When you're, for me anyways, I can have brain fog if I'm tired or fatigue. And then, as soon as energy kicks in, I work out, like I know what I need to do. I'm clear, right? So then I decided to do it again. And this time I set an intention, but I didn't give myself enough time. Like I put the music on.
Was this by yourself?
Yes.
Up here too?
And I took a couple breaths, not really like in the deep state but I did some of those things and I made sure, I put like a pea size, cut it in half and then one nostril and then the other nostril. And I felt energized, like more energy, more clarity. Like
similar to the last time that you did it by yourself?
Right. And so I think that when I do it again, I'm really going to meditate, put myself in that higher consciousness where I am just fully in the moment with music on and seeing if to create that space to where I can create that spiritual experience.
Create the spiritual experience? So does it have anything to do with
what?
The hape?
I think the hape is just supposed to open you. You can't have an experience, like a spiritual experience, without you create it.
Yeah.
Hape is not going to create it.
Okay.
You create it.
Yeah, I think we're kind of maybe getting off on a different thing, but like I think the conversation that we were having was more like what are the effects of what you're actually taking? Like what is it, these feelings, like what was the difference between the feelings that you felt when you were at the retreat and when you were, because you said that when you were at the retreat, like somebody was comforting you because you were in a state and you were emotional and all this other stuff, where when you were here, it was just like clarity, focus, energized. It seems like the only thing that you felt was the effects of the hape itself.
Yeah. But I also feel it's because I didn't put myself in the higher consciousness state.
Yeah.
We are spirit.
What does that mean?
We create.
Yeah.
So if my intention was that, I could have put myself in that state. I feel that I could have put myself into that state because I do it when I meditate or even when I'm not. What I was trying to do was have nothing, like not being really connected,
Right.
and then putting it in to see if something would create that, if the hape would create that.
Right.
But the hape didn't create that.
Yeah.
I see what you're...
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's not the same. But when I went to that encounter, so the encounter was a weekend church retreat that I went to a couple years ago. And there was a moment where we watched The Passion of the Christ and they were playing music and they put nails in everybody's hands. It was created. It was a moment that was created by the church. Mm-hmm. There was one person that was not in the state because I didn't put myself in that state. And that was supposed to be God. But God missed one person in that room. How? How is that possible? How is it possible that God was there that entire weekend and missed one person?
But what?
Because, well, what I'm getting at is people, like, we mistake things so many times. And we think that it's one thing when it's not. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have never done hape the way you've done it, or the way those guys did it in the jungle. Mm-hmm. And for them, because they always do it like this, mm-hmm. it's way more than it actually is. It's not just focus, clarity, energy, which is what it is probably, it seems like. Right? Mm-hmm. It's way more than that because they've added so much more to it.
So, in order to release trauma, a person has to be open to release, to let go. They have to be in a state of
vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking of like the way I coach, my coaching.
Yeah.
You know, it's a soul to soul conversation.
Like your
it's
podcast
a higher consciousness.
Yeah.
It's a soul to soul conversation. I don't know how to explain that, but I am deeply connected to my clients, and my clients are deeply connected to me.
I think we're getting off because that is kind of like what we were talking about with our friend that came over. That's a connection between people that we're having. This is being put into a state and making something more than it is.
But you have to be put into a state in order to release and to let go. And
or brainwashed.
What do you mean?
You have to be put into a state. I mean, I don't know if you have to be put into a state to release anything. You have to be ready. You have to be aware. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to be ready. You have to be aware. You have to be aware of what's actually happened. You have to be clear on reality and the stories that you've made up.
Yes.
It's not being in a state. It's seeing things for what they are. It's knowing the truth of the matter. Truth is, this is what happened to me. I couldn't do anything about it. It is what it is, and that doesn't have to be me. That doesn't define who I am going forward.
Right.
It's not being put into a state.
No, but people have to feel safe.
And maybe to get, I think it's slippery because when if you get put in, if you're somebody that allows yourself to be put into a state without
well, that's what meditating
skepticism,
does.
Without questioning, it can lead to going down the wrong paths.
Right. Yeah. Especially if the person in front of you has bad intentions.
Because I have put myself into states, but I don't allow others to put me into states.
Right.
I don't trust other people to, I mean, you can put me in a state.
Oh yeah.
But no. I mean, and no,
that's what we were talking about too upstairs.
And me being who I am, this is one of the, you can't fake faith. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to put me in a fucking state. Good luck.
And we were talking about that upstairs, about when we are intimate. Like you feel safe with me.
Yeah.
To allow me in that space.
That's why, like, when you explain to me, like, that dude in India, it's like, I want to meet these people.
Yeah.
Do it to me. Do it to me.
Yeah.
It's a fucking challenge. Like, I accept. Mm-hmm. Do it to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I have a thing about seeing through a lot of stuff. And there's things that my senses go off and I'm like, something's up. Mm-hmm. No. What are we talking about here? No. And I'm not going along with everything. And if I don't go, and what I'm kind of getting at the encounter was a perfect example of that. Because I didn't go along with it and I didn't get put into a state. And I saw what that state did to people with watching the Passion of the Christ, which, man, if I went back to an encounter, like it was emotional for me.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's hard to watch, even for somebody that doesn't believe in any of that, like me.
But Jesus was a human.
That is what bothers me. That is what hurts me.
Right. And
that
you
is
see,
like I have these feelings regardless of
empathy
you know what?
within.
You know what? It's almost, this is a crazy fucking thought, because it's almost sadder for me than it is for Christians. Because for Christians, there's a reason why he died that way. He sacrificed himself for our sins. And I just see it as somebody that was trying to help people and they tortured and killed him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It wasn't like like they just tortured and killed a guy. Yeah. And he suffered terribly. You know, like I watch it and I'm like, I can't believe that people would do that to somebody else. Like it hurts my heart, you know? But when you think that that's your God, that's a different impact. And we're watching the Passion of the Christ. And I'm saying, like, I'm watching it. It does have an effect. I see what people do to other people, and I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. It's like watching bad shit happen. Like you turn on the news and you see somebody fucking shot up a school.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, fuck, man. Like that, it hurts. It hurts watching stuff like that. That's the way I see the Passion of the Christ. But if you believe that's your God, it's way deeper. And then we stop. The lights are down. The pastor starts talking about the sacrifices that we just watched him make for us. The guilt.
Right. And the shame.
And the shame. He did this for you.
Yeah.
And every time that you sin, you're kind of like throwing dirt on everything that he did or everything that happened to him. More guilt. And that's why we have to be righteous and this and that. And then the music plays. But by accident, instead of playing something that was, you know, because he died for you. And every time that you sin, whatever, like you can hear like how that,
yeah.
But by mistake, they accidentally did this one. They're like, oh shit, no, that's not the, excuse me, can you guys play the right song? And then they started playing the right one. And I don't know if anybody else in there notices these things, but because I'm not in a state, I notice. And it's like, God can't come during the, like, what does the music have anything to do with God? So it seems like we need this music to put us in a state. And then while you're listening to the music and listening to the sacrifices and being told that he died for us and all the bad things that happened to him and all the shitty things that we do to each other and how all of this stuff and how we need to be better and how we're not worthy and all these things. And then they ask you to open up your hand and they put a nail in your hand that's 9 inches long, just like the ones that they say they drove through Jesus's wrists or whatever. People lose it. My God was crucified for me. Like, I watched an entire room of people be brainwashed. They did it. Like, I watched them do it. You know, like, it's very clear. You know, like, I don't understand how. I just explained how they did it. And this is the hardest thing that people have. What they have the hardest time with is accepting. Because I just broke it down. What happened? And what will people say? It was God. Yeah, but still, it was God. And I'm like, I was there. I was in the house. There's always an excuse, a reason why, right? Oh, you didn't get it because you're not open. Is God not powerful or what? Is he not powerful enough to fucking get into this little fucking brain? Into the couple, millimeters of skull that I have? He can't get in there? He got into everybody else's fucking head in this place. But there was one person that he couldn't fucking get to. What is wrong with me? You know? Mm-hmm. But the only way for this to make sense is just to, yeah, but still, God. Right? And everybody wants to have their spin on stuff. The biggest acceptance is just, it is what it is. We are it. Right?
Maybe.
That is another one. I love that. That's another thing that I've picked up on.
I tell you all the time.
That's another thing that I've picked up on because I've told you that I've talked to a couple friends of mine and people, and I've noticed, because I know that I think things very clearly and I think things through completely. Mm-hmm. And I'll put things together and share it with somebody where it makes complete sense. And we're having a conversation. We could talk back and forth. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you know what I mean? But because it's something that goes against somebody else's beliefs, what I get in return is crickets. It's not a, that's interesting. It's not a, I could see how you could think that, or what. It's just crickets. Like, it's almost like I ran into something that I don't want to face.
At least that's how you're taking it. Because as I shared with you upstairs, like, I've had several spiritual experiences that cannot be explained. One definitely for me that cannot be explained. And so for me, and I don't know how to explain it, but you know this, you know the story, you know what occurred. And I wasn't on my hands and knees praying for God to come save me.
No.
I wasn't going to church. And that's actually what led me to searching for answers. And so there are some things that I just can't explain. So for me, like...
So there's some things that you can't explain, so you'll assign it something else that you can't explain.
Yeah, what?
Do you see
God.
what that, you see what that is? There's something that I can't explain, so I'm going to assign it something else that I can't explain either.
And until you have an experience, I can't explain it to you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
I had an experience and I was able to explain it to you, and you don't believe that it was the same, do you? It couldn't have been.
I wasn't listening to music for one.
But it couldn't have been the same feeling.
Hold on. Like, you were listening to music. You had your shit set up.
Okay.
Right? I didn't have any music.
Okay, I get it.
I wasn't in a train of thought. I wasn't in a thought. I wasn't in thought.
I understand. This leads perfectly into what I was about to mention. Is when we were upstairs talking, we were talking about what happens when you die. Right? Mm-hmm. And a conversation that I was having with my brother about shitty people out there that like do bad things. And he was like these people got to go somewhere, like Hitler or murderers, people that kill babies, shoot up schools, things like there's got to be a special place for those people. Mm-hmm. Like, they can't just go in the dirt Like if we all go in the dirt and they're going to go in the dirt with us, like, is that how it goes? Like these horrible people, like nothing happens. Where's the justice in that? Right? Or like where we came from or like what we're made of. I don't know. But yeah, like everybody has, not everybody, but there's a lot of different spins on what happens when you die. You get reincarnated. We go to heaven or you go to hell or whatever. And the truth is, nobody knows.
Right.
And if you really, think about it deeply, like it's a deep whatever. Nobody knows truly what happens when you die. You may think you do. You may have read a book that somebody wrote, and that's what they say, but you'll never know until you die. Now, it's like how can somebody say like that we're going to be reincarnated? Like where is there anything that shows that? And actually I came up with maybe an explanation for where the origin of that came from, right? Because if we're all made up of the things that the planet is made up of, right? I mean, our kids, literally, before they were born, we were together. You want to get gross? They came from my balls. My jizz. My jizz was made up of things that I ate, food that I ate that turned into that, right? That's what makes all of our bodily fluids. That was probably in a cereal box somewhere or down an aisle in Fry's somewhere, which before that was in a field somewhere that was grown somewhere. So in a way, we all kind of get reincarnated. When I die, maybe mushrooms will grow on my body and turn into something else. Maybe something eats it, turns into something else, and eventually, like we're all made up of, like this shit is all recycled. You want to talk about the biggest recycling program? We are it. Right? So if you want to talk about reincarnation, maybe that's what it was. But there is no evidence for actually being reincarnated or going to heaven or going to hell or any of these things. So the hardest thing for people to accept is that we don't know. So it's like, why just assign it something? Why not just accept that we don't know? And that's the hardest thing for people. Who is God? Who created this whole thing? Like we know up until a certain point, but what happens past that? You're going to tell me you know? Damn, you figured some shit out. Because I figured out a bunch of shit. I haven't figured that one out. But you know for sure it's the white guy with the beard. That sounds like it's made up by people.
The white guy with the beard.
All of them. Babe, all of them sound like fucking comic books.
Well, hello there.
Hello, Nisi. Anyway. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And with that, make sure you guys go to our website, share this with somebody else that you know. Make sure that they comment. You guys comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Make sure you help us out by going to our website.
Yes. Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract podcast.
Where we get better
together.
Bye.
Bye.